Okay, good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to continue with dimensional analysis. The other day, or in the last video, I went over the 5 rules of dimensional analysis and how to convert from one unit to another. So if you haven't checked that video out, make sure you do so. It's really helpful. So just to do a quick recap before we get into some extra examples, remember dimensional analysis, okay, is when we convert one unit to another. And that could be either metric to English, or English to metric. And using those conversion factors, okay, that we get from the sheet that has been provided to you in class, okay, I will never ask you to memorize conversion factors. Some you may already know in your head, others you may have to look up. But a conversion factor is a fraction that equals 1. In other words, the left side equals the right side. All right, so what I mean is 60 seconds equals 1 minute. All right, so the left equals the same. It's just two different measurements. Okay, so 60 seconds equals 1 minute. This is an example of a conversion factor. All right, the 5 rules that I went over. All right, now I kind of put it in an abbreviated version here. Remember, if you follow these 5 rules, you should never make mistakes. Number 1, put the original over 1. 2, insert the appropriate conversion factor. 3, you're going to cancel units. Remember, in order to cancel units, they have to be on opposite levels. 4, you're going to multiply across and multiply the top numbers, which is the numerator. Then you're going to multiply the denominator or the bottom numbers. And then 5, you're going to simplify. All right, so what I want to do is a couple of examples, and then I will leave you with a couple that you can try on your own. All right, the first one, we got 160 centimeters, and we want to convert that to millimeters. Okay, now I know you could use the metric bar, but we're going to use conversion factors here. So the first thing I'm going to do, now again, this number here on the left, that's my original. Okay, so I'm going to put that over 1. So 160 centimeters over 1. I'm going to make this a fraction. So this number is the same as this. Okay, that's what my step number 1 said. Then I'm going to insert a conversion factor. And I'm just going to put a box here so that I know. Okay, and then I'm going to put my fraction line. Now keep in mind, I'm using line paper so that everything that's on this line is my numerator. Everything on the line below is my denominator. So I'm trying to keep it neat and simple. All right, so since I'm going from centimeters to millimeters, all right, I want to look at my chart here, my conversion factor sheet, all right, that I passed out to you guys. And first, I'm going to try to look for these 2 units of measurement, cm and mm. So I know that meters is a measurement of distance. So I'm just going to kind of go down here and, let's see, centimeters to millimeters. Oh, and I found it right here. So we got 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. All right, so I'm just going to throw that over here. So we got 10 cm equals, 1. 10 millimeters equals 1 cm. All right, and see, that's what you got to do. You got to make sure you write it appropriate. I got to make sure that the 10 is next to the mm and the 1 is next to the centimeter. All right, centimeter is the larger unit. All right, the smaller number is always going to be the larger unit. All right, so now I can write it 2 different ways. I can either write this conversion factor this way, where I put 10 millimeters over 1 centimeter, or I can reciprocate it and flip it, all right, and write it this way. Now, which one do I use in this box determines what is up here. Remember, step 3, cancel units. The only way I can cancel the centimeters out is by putting it on the opposite level. So I'm going to take this unit and put it here. All right, so that means I'm going to be using this one. All right, with the centimeter on the bottom. So I got 1 centimeter on the bottom, and then up top is going to be 10 millimeters. Okay, so now my conversion factor is inserted. I'll put CF here for conversion factor. Now 3, cancel out the units. Remember the units we cancel. All right, opposite levels. Just going to do a quick glance. Can I cancel millimeters out with anything? No, there's nothing here, but that's okay. All right, millimeters is what I'm trying to convert to. So now that I have that established, Now I go to step 4, multiply numerator and denominator. 160 times 10 is 1600. All right. And then 1 times 1 is 1. Now I just simplify that. 1600 divided by 1 is 1600. So 160 centimeters equals 1600 millimeters. All right. Metric to metric. All right. So this was a metric to metric. All right. The next one we'll do is metric to English. All right. So let's say I want to know how many inches are in 100 centimeters. All right. So I want to know how many centimeters equals a certain amount of inches. Well, just because it's a different unit of measurement doesn't mean I don't follow my 5 rules. Okay. The first rule, put the original over 1. So I have 100 centimeters over 1. And then I'm going to multiply that by a conversion factor. So now I need a conversion factor that has centimeters and inches in it. So when I look at my conversion factor sheet, I see that I got 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. This is my conversion factor. Now, don't be hesitant because you see a decimal number here, 2.54. Doesn't matter. All right, I can still write that 2 different ways. All right, so I can either write it 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch, or reciprocate it, 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters. All right, so I got to figure out which way I want to use it. Well, since the centimeters is up top, that means the centimeters is going to be below. All right, so 2.54 centimeters, going to go on the bottom, 1 inch goes on the top. Okay, so I can cancel out my centimeters now, step 3. Then I multiply across. 100 times 1 is 100. I'm just going to bring the inch over here so that we know what unit we're using. And then 1 times 2.54. All right, so now you probably are not going to be doing that math in your head, but that's fine. I don't want you to. Just use the calculator. So we got 100 divided by 2.54, which gives us an answer of 39.3 inches. All right, so 100 centimeters equals 39.3 inches. Okay, metric to English. All right, so again, what did we do? Original over 1, insert a conversion factor, cancel units, multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator, and then simplify. And that simplify gives us our final answer. All right. Let's do one more example. We'll do an English to English. All right. Let's say I want to know how many. Let's see. 6,500 pounds. I want to know how many tons that is. All right. Now remember, tons, 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So that's my conversion factor. Okay. So let's put the original over 1. We got 6,500 pounds. I'm going to put that over 1. I'm going to insert my conversion factor. Now just kind of think about what you're going to use. Okay. We got ton and pounds. All right. So pounds is up here. So that means pounds has to go where? That's right, the bottom. So I'm going to put my unit here. Now, what you've noticed in all 3 of these, the units of measurements are the key. You got to put the units of measurements in so that you don't get confused with the numbers. All right, so pounds goes on the bottom, tons goes on top. So we know that 2,000 pounds is equal to 1 ton. Okay. Now, step 3, cancel out the pounds. I can cancel out pounds because they're on opposite levels. Leaves me with tons. Tons is my new unit of measurement. All right, step 4, let's multiply across 6,500 times 1. 6,500, I'm going to just bring ton over, and then 1 times 2,000. All right, so now simplify. 6,500 divided by 2,000 equals 3.25 tons. So my answer would be 3.25 tons. So far, so good. So when you think of it, this is the prototype that you would follow. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of write this. All right, so you got your fraction over 1. You have your conversion factor. All right, so I'll put the original goes here, multiplied by the conversion factor here. Cancel out your units. Okay, and then you're going to multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator. All right, and then simplify. Okay, so that's basically how these one-step conversion factors are going to work. All right, so what I want you to do is give these two problems a shot and then put them on scrap paper and submit it to me. All right, so problem 1 is going to be 8.1 kilometers, converting that to meters. Again, I want to see the conversion factor. All right, and problem 2, we'll do 15 kilograms, convert that to pounds. All right, so again, you're going to have each of your problems look like this. Okay, original, conversion factor, numerator, denominator, and then simplify. Okay, all right, same thing over here. All right, so practice these and send me your results. If you have any questions, let me know.